Logistics play an important role because in case you mess that up, your dream could become a failure very quickly.
The entire education loan journey is now a digital journey from end to end. Due to the abundance of so many financial lenders in the system, what used to be an elitist dream of sending your kids abroad for an education, now it has become a reality for the middle class and the lower middle class people also.
Overall, I've seen that time and again, like two students going abroad to the same city, to the same university, but they have a overall different journey altogether.
See, mindset to sabka hota hai, Apoorva. A lot of students are aware that this is their big shot and a big opportunity. But a lot of them don't realize that it's a massive hustle once they reach there. And it's a huge change for them as well, right? From the culture, to the weather, to the food, to the place they're going to stay, rules and regulations, everything is different. All the student halls there are managed privately. The university outsource it. They don't manage it themselves, right? They focus on the academic part.
I get calls from parents asking that whether what utensils we should carry or whether my kid will get a bed sheet or not. These are some small questions which these parents or the kids are actually, they want to know.
They're worried about.
They are worried about because that's a new country for them.
Students do not give the due importance and time to think about foreign exchange, even though it comprises a major portion of their study expense abroad.
Credit cards are very expensive. The exchange rate that they offer is obnoxiously high. And, many a times we tell the students that, okay, use a Forex. And they're like, no, we have a credit card. We'll just swipe a card because they're so used to doing that.
Welcome back to the Big Leap with Study Smart. On this brand new educational podcast, we've been on quite a journey. Right from choosing the right career, course, university to building a strong student profile. We've covered a lot of ground. But today, we are going to talk about the secret sauce for global success. And no, it's not your admission letter. It's much more than that. It's all about mastering the logistics, finance, accommodation, and Forex. To lead this conversation, I have none other than Mr. Chetan Jain, the founder and managing director of Study Smart, who's helped thousands of students reach their global destinations and build successful careers. Welcome back to the Big Leap, Chetan.
Always a pleasure to be here. But I'm really looking forward to today's episode because I know I'll not be the only one talking today.
Oh, that's a surprise for all of us here. Chetan, we see a lot of students obsessing over their SOPs and test scores, but they don't spend equal amount of time or energy in working on the logistics, which is basically finance, accommodation, and Forex. So why do you think it's essential for students to start paying attention to this portion of their journey? Why it's a make or break thing?
Sure. Apoorva, studying abroad is a very complex process, right? And it has multiple steps involved. Getting the admission into your dream university is just step one. And I would say that just covers 20 to 25% of the journey of reaching your final destination. And logistics play an important role because in case you mess that up, your dream could become a failure very quickly. So something like finances. If you don't plan for your finances, you're over ambitious with the kind of universities you're targeting and you've not planned for an education loan or planned for funding, what's the point of that admission letter if you cannot pay the fees to get there, right? So planning your logistics, which is the funding aspect, planning for the accommodation, planning for Forex, travel card, travel essentials, all these things are equally important. And I think 70 to 80% of the time of the student should be spent on these aspects to get them right. And that is where someone like us comes into play, right? With the years of experience of placing so many students abroad, we know what are the challenges they're going to face at every step. And what we have done is that we have created an umbrella of services and preferred providers that we have, which will help the students with each and every important aspect of this. That is education loans, accommodation, as well as Forex services.
Okay. And this will definitely help, ease out the process for students who are obviously already burdened with a lot of new stuff happening for them.
Yeah, so we tell the students, you worry about making the right choices, leave the back end work to us.
Oh, okay. I think that's superb and definitely not just for the students. I'm sure it's a lot of peace of mind for the parents as well.
Oh, definitely, because the parents sometimes are far more worried about the logistics than the children are, because that is where their involvement is required. The child is focusing more on choosing the right university, the right course, whereas the parent is more worried about paise kahan se aayenge, bacha rahega kahan pe, right? How will I manage all these transactions? They are worried about the tax liability, they're worried about government compliances, right? So having the right providers attached with Study Smart and providing that information to students well in advance before they have to take those steps is again a great help for them.
Chetan, in a student's life, once they get that admission letter, they feel relieved. Ye ho gaya. So what's next for them? How should they plan the next part?
I don't think they should feel relieved only once they get the admission letter. They should feel relieved once they reach there.
Okay.
Right. But the most important aspect to take care of after they've got their admission letter is to figuring out the finances, right? How are they going to fund for the tuition fees? How are they going to fund for their expenses they need to incur before they reach there, and fund for their living expenses? Yes, the students can work part-time there, but they can't be under the assumption that part-time job mil jayega. They need to have a contingency plan that in case they don't get a part-time job, then how will they manage the entire expenses for a year, 2 years or 3 years that they're there?
Okay.
So funding plays an important role. Now, in that case, they can apply for scholarships. They can look at external funding options. Education loan is now playing an important role. We are seeing a lot of students availing education loan. Even the ones that come with means and have the funding, they still prefer taking an education loan because there are certain advantages attached to it. So education loan, I would say, is one of the most important aspects they need to start working on the moment they get their admits.
And apart from education loan, what else should the students be preparing for? These are like what you're talking about are actually pillars for the students in this journey. So what could be the next pillar for them?
The next pillar is, of course, Hindi mein bolte hai roti, kapda aur makan, right? So makan would be the next worry for them. So having a roof over their head once they reach there is very, very important. And I think for a parent, that's the biggest worry, that will my child get the right accommodation or not? So working for the accommodation is equally important. And I think to the overall well-being of the child also, it's important that you're living in a good, sustainable environment. So if you're living in a hardship or you're living in a place that you don't like, you're not going to do well on your education as well. So accommodation, I would say, is the next pillar.
Okay. And, after accommodation, what else comes to your mind that needs planning and needs a lot of understanding on the ground realities?
I think Forex plays an important role because for many parents, this is the first time they're doing any kind of Forex transactions. So paying the tuition fees, paying the accommodation fees has to happen while the students are here from India itself. Right? So choosing the right Forex provider, getting the right rate from the providers, also planning for the travel expenses. So whether should they take a travel card, should they take cash? So all these aspects also play an important role while it comes towards the end of their journey. But I think it's equally important. So I would call that as the third pillar.
Okay. So in this episode, we're going to have special guests who are experts in these three pillars to talk about this important portion in the study abroad journey and how this support system will help you on your success abroad. Your study abroad dreams depend on many factors, and one of the factors is finance. Today, to help you with your financing for the study abroad journey, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Saurish Sanyal, who is the Deputy VP and the Location Head for Maharashtra and Goa at Credila Financial Services Limited. He is here to help you understand how your journey with finance and study abroad can go together without the pressure of too much loans. Welcome to the Big Leap, sir.
Thank you, Apoorva. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Saurish, you have studied in India and from one of the most prestigious institutions, IIM Mumbai. Post that, you worked in this sector and at Credila. So what is your analysis of the study abroad landscape currently?
Well, the study abroad landscape has changed drastically over the last few years. The major reason being the rising tuition fees, the cost of living expenses, and also the currency fluctuations. They have ensured that financing the education study abroad aspiration is now become as critical as securing the seat itself. Now, the parents have become much more financially literate. Now they are aware of the rate of interest. They are aware of the taxations. Now, how much collateral they would like to provide at this moment. Now, makes of sense why these things are coming, because due to the abundance of so many financial lenders in the system, what used to be an elitist dream of sending your kids abroad for an education, now it has become a reality for the middle class and the lower middle class people also. And now Also, because of all these factors, we could see a lot of study abroad consultancies which has also emerged and have come up in the system. Overall, the ecosystem is growing and it is a very niche market.
So, Chetan, as the founder of Study Smart, you are on ground 24/7 with these students. So, what are your thoughts on the landscape to add to what Sorish said?
I definitely echo his thoughts. We have seen a huge increase in the number of students going abroad. And one of the biggest catalysts to this growth in the numbers has been the easy availability of education loans. Uh, for the longest time, studying abroad was a dream for classes and not for masses. Like he correctly said, a lot of middle class, low middle class students can also now dream of studying abroad because they have easy financing available, which was not the case before.
What are some of the most common myths or misconceptions that you have seen when it comes to financing your study abroad dreams?
Well, one of the major misconceptions that I have seen that majorly coming from the HNI or the super rich clients, they feel that we are having enough liquidity to fund our education. Why do we require an education loan? But now, because on having an education loan, it's much advantageous because you don't have to break that liquidity or savings which you have got, and also that same money that can be invested in the market would have given a much higher return than you are giving a ROI for an education loan. Also, the students who have taken an education loan, their kids who will be taking the education loan, there will be a sense of accountability and responsibility towards them rather than having all the everything handed over on a platter. So that will also be a beneficial for them. Many clients have realized it at a later stage. And another misconception that we have seen is that people feel that there has to be for a tier 2 or tier 3 city, if there is there has to be a branch present, someone has to be physically present nearby to get the loan sanctions. No, the entire education loan journey is now a digital journey. Customer doesn't have to even visit the branch. At least in Credila, customer doesn't have to visit the branch. Everything can be done digitally. Only the courier needs to be sent on how the disbursement, on the documents during disbursement. And that's also a very misconception people are having, that you need to have someone on the physical front and nearby so that only the loan can get sanctioned and processed that way.
Oh, okay. Chetan, what are some of these common myths that you feel people have about loans?
I think the biggest myth that people have is that you need a collateral, right? That you need to mortgage something and against that you can get a loan. And that's a huge fear for a lot of parents because they've built those assets with a lot of hard work. And suddenly they feel that, okay, if I have to mortgage that asset to get the education loan, they feel very insecure about it. Most private banks would give you a loan without collateral. So that's a big misconception that people have. So students don't need to worry if they do not have something that they can mortgage or they don't want to mortgage. There are enough options available to get a collateral free loan. Moreover, the process people think is very complex because they're very used to going to public sector banks who give them a runaround. That's not the case with private banks. A lot of private banks make the process very, very seamless and very, very quick. We've seen approvals come in 2 to 3 working days as well. That's how fast it can be. So yeah, these are the two misconceptions I would say are the most common with students.
I think these were very critical for us to cover, and I'm sure they'll help a lot of students, especially their parents, knowing that you don't have to break the bank for it. Sorish, many parents worry about the interest rates or the long term repayment, right? So, what kind of advice would you give these parents?
Well, that's an excellent point that you have made. See, in Credila, we have a lot of advantages on the ROI. Our rate of interest are quite competitive compared to the other players in the market. Also, the repayment option is not a problem. See, we have seen in the past, a lot of majority of the students, they tend to pay out their loan between 2 to 3 years itself. Okay, and we have zero foreclosure charges, so that's an advantage over there. And I believe that rather than thinking about the ROIs and all the repayment options, stu- uh, uh, parents should also look after other things like whereas there is moratorium period should be considered, the margin money should be considered, as well as what are the best tax benefits they are receiving out of it. So this should also be considered beside the repayment option as well as ROI.
Okay. Chetan, would you like to add anything here?
Yeah, definitely. I think the advice I would give to parents, because they are taking a massive financial risk and repaying the loan could be a worry for them. Firstly, evaluate the banks, right? Check what bank is giving you the best interest rate. And, when you apply for 2, 3 banks, it gives you a little bit of negotiation power as well, that you can say, oh, he's giving me a better interest rate. Can you match it? Secondly, once they take the loan and the loan is disbursed, many banks will not ask them to do the interest payments. They'll say you can start repaying the loan 1 year or 2 years after the student finishes his course. My advice to parents is start paying the interest from day one, because that interest tends to accumulate, gets added to your principal, and your overall repayment options goes up drastically, and you don't realize how quickly that happens. So from day one, make the interest payments. Even if the child is not earning yet, the parents should be prepared to make the interest payments. And lastly, there are a lot of government banks that provide interest-free loans or subsidy on the interest rate for certain castes. Like I'm a minority, I'm a Jain, so I can apply for a loan subsidy scheme. There are similarly many such schemes available by the government where you can get a subsidy on the interest that you're paying as well. So the parents should explore all their options before they commit to a loan.
Okay. Chetan, I want to ask a very pertinent question here. Why is it important for students to take loans to go abroad? I mean, is it essential?
It's not essential. Obviously, if they have the money, they don't need to take an education loan. But as a consultant and a counselor, I would always recommend students to take an education loan, because there are multiple benefits that come along with an education loan. Number one, I think accountability on the child. So today, the child is feeling far more responsible and is far more serious, because he knows that now he needs to put in the efforts and ensure that he repays the loan, because his parents have not paid for his education. Technically, he's paid for the education. He has taken the loan. So that accountability factor comes in. There are other benefits as well. For example, whatever interest that they're paying on the loan, the parents can avail a tax benefit on that. It gets exempted from their taxable income. There is a TCS component now that has to be paid, which is as high as 5% if you're paying the tuition fees on your own. But if in case you're paying the tuition fees via an education loan, it comes down to 0.5%. So there's a saving there also for the parents. So it's highly recommended that they take an education loan for their journey.
Chetan just spoke about the advantages of taking a loan while financing your study abroad journey. What are the specific benefits that a student would get if they opt for Credila?
So, as whether you might be aware, Credila was the first education loan specific company of the country. And right, adding to Chetan's point, yes, we are also providing the same advantages. The tax benefits that on the interest component that an applicant for an education loan receives, it is yes, on availing through Credila along with other private banks and the PSU banks. Even for Credila also this is applicable. The TCS advantage is for all, so I won't tell it, it's specific to Credila. And of course we have the flexible repayment options. Our rates are very competitive. Okay, both we have unsecured products where without collateral products we can give unsecured loan up to 75 lakhs without any collateral for postgraduate, and for 1.5 CR for undergraduate courses.
Wow, I think this is truly a very advantageous solution for any students who are now, preparing for the next intake.
Absolutely.
So, before we let you go, we'll just ask you one last question. What is the one piece of advice that you would give, or one smart financing move that you would tell students?
So start early and choose your borrower smartly.
Chetan, would you like to give any advice or a quick tip here?
Yeah, I think I would talk about my personal experience with Credila. We've been working with them for close to 12 years now. And it's been a seamless process. And I think they've been very fair towards the students in terms of the disbursement terms, in terms of the interest rate. So at the end of the day, as a provider, if they're providing fair and value-added services to our students, I think that's what we want to look out for. And I would say I would give a big thumbs up to Credila.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarish.
Thank you.
for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much. Thank you so much.
You've secured admission to your dream university. Finances are covered. So, what's your next big challenge? It's where you're going to live and how you're going to stay. So, in this segment of the episode, we are joined by Mr. Prakhar Pagaria, who is the Associate Director of Partnerships at Amber, and he's an expert on accommodation and living when you're studying abroad. Welcome, Prakhar.
Thank you. How are you?
All good. We're happy to have you on the Big Leap.
Thank you so much.
Chetan and Prakhar, I want to ask you a question which I feel resonates with both of you. Both of you have, helped in shaping students' journeys in going global. So, in that scenario, how much of an impact does the student's mindset and preparation have when it comes to succeeding abroad over just the location of where they are going?
Right. So overall, I've seen that time and again, like two students going abroad to the same city, to the same university, but they have a overall different journey altogether. What matters for them is about the mindset, right? I have seen that the students who prepare early or plan early regarding their accommodation, or about wants to understand about where they are going to, and about research about their overall culture, they settle in that particular country very fast. So it's the mindset which actually determines how long they are going to go in that particular country.
Okay. Chetan, what about you?
See, mindset तो सबका होता है, Apoorva. A lot of students are aware that this is their big shot and a big opportunity. So they are very prepared in that sense, ki, they have that clarity of thought that we have to work hard. But a lot of them don't realize that it's a massive hustle once they reach there. And it's a huge change for them as well, right? From the culture to the weather to the food, to the place they're going to stay, rules and regulations, everything is different. So the students who take up that research to understand what are the changes that they're going to face, what are the challenges they're going to face, the ones who talk to the university representatives, the one who talk to other students who studied there, the one who asked too many questions to us, are the ones who will probably do much better than the others, because they're going there prepared. I always tell my students कि जंग के मैदान में जाने के पहले तैयारी पूरी होनी चाहिए. Exactly. So yeah, the more prepared you are, the chances of you winning are much higher.
We started off this conversation with preparation mindset. So what is one of the most important preparation factors according to you for a student?
So accommodation plays a very crucial role while anyone is planning to study abroad. According to the survey that we recently did, we found that accommodation is the second most important thing that is there when a student plans to study abroad, right? In along with the student, in fact, the parents are more concerned where their student is going to, where the kid is going to stay.
Right.
So yeah, according to us, a student should plan their accommodation as early as 2 to 3 months before they plan their travel to that respective country.
Okay. So if Chetan, I would like to ask you as well, is accommodation that crucial?
Oh, I think it's as crucial as the university. I would not say the second most. It is one of the most important factors. Apoorva, where you stay defines a lot in terms of your peace of mind and your well-being. Right. So today, as a student, if you're studying in the best of university, but you're not happy with the accommodation you have, you're not happy with the roommates you have, or the people you have, or the ambience that is there, you will not do well. Right. I've seen students get into depression. I've seen students struggle with the accommodation. Sometimes they've landed up in very bad accommodation where the bed is not proper. They can't sleep at night. So accommodation is very, very important. And like he correctly said, that students need to plan early for it. The normal attitude for students is बाद में देख लेंगे ना, पहले यूनिवर्सिटी पे फोकस करते
After I
हैं.
get my
Say,
visa.
boss, जैसे ही यूनिवर्सिटी होता है फाइनल, you should parallelly work on the accommodation and not wait right till the end to book your accommodation, because then you're left with just limited options
Minimum
as well.
options.
So, linking with this discussion, I'd like to ask you, Prakhar, that how does a platform like Amber, fit into this journey for students?
All right. So Amber, it's almost a 9-year-old company. We have got more than 2 million plus rooms listed on our platform. All these rooms are being verified first before they get listed. So these rooms and the overall property has got CCTV, security, a very good ambience. So whenever a student travels abroad, they have a very safe place to stay, proximity to the campus or the public transport. So it's very easy and comfortable for these students whenever they want to socialize with someone, whenever they want to go to the campus, or overall, like well-being is actually very important. So it's very good for them.
Okay. Chetan, do you think Amber is kind of revolutionizing the entire accommodation part of the journey for students?
Oh, definitely. Amber and many other, aggregators that are now currently in the accommodation domain, I think they've helped us a lot to give certain amount of reliability to the students. Right? Today, there are a lot of scams that happen where, randomly on websites, accommodation will be listed and it'll look all nice and, rosy. And when the student reaches there, it's something else. And I've faced this personally. So when I was a student, there was a very famous website called Gumtree in the UK that would list all sorts of things from, shared accommodations to, and I had booked my accommodation on Gumtree. The pictures on the Gumtree looked like a fancy accommodation, and I was amazed that, they're giving it so cheap. And I fell for that trap. And when I reached there, it did not exist. Right? So today with platforms like Amber, we know there's reliability and safety. And today when a student is booking something, what he sees online, it'll actually be the reality when they reach there. So that's, I think, a very important factor, and what they bring on board is that reliability.
Prakhar, like you rightly pointed out, that accommodation is one of the biggest worries for not just the students but their parents as well. So when they are now making the journey of choosing where to live, what are some factors that they should definitely look at?
Right. So, in every season, we see a lot of parents or students coming to us saying that they are being tricked by a couple of websites who have actually shown them some images and have taken a booking deposit or some amount from them. So, according to me, the most important thing for a student when they look for an accommodation is that first they should check whether the property is giving them a proper contract. Second, they should also compare the prices on other platforms. And the third and the most important thing is a support system once they land to that particular country as well. So at Amber, for instance, whenever a student comes on our platform and wants to book an accommodation, we dedicate a booking manager to them. So they can reach out to us anytime, even if they are in India and they want to book an accommodation abroad. They can simply do it with simple peace of mind.
Chetan, any particular safety or comfort factors that definitely this is something you should look out for when choosing student housing?
Yeah, I'll take it one step back actually. One of the most important factors is the distance from the university of the accommodation. Most of the countries that these students go to are cold countries. And trust me, when you have to wake up at 7 in the morning on a cold winter day and walk to the accommodation, you're going to have a hard time. So distance is one of the most important factors. How close are you to the places where your classes are being conducted? We recommend as close as possible. Right. Second, obviously, you want to look at the overall facilities that are available in the accommodation. Now, for a student to go there, he has a lot of battles to fight. Now, he doesn't want more battles to fight on the accommodation front. So do they have laundry services? Do they have cooking facilities available? Do they have a gymnasium? So depending on what his choices are in terms of what are the facilities he wants, they should check, are the basic essential facilities available or not. Right. So these are the two factors that I would say one should be looking at. And then lastly, the price. You may feel that, okay, manage ho jayega, I'll get a part-time job and I'll be able to, pay for my living expenses. They should ideally look at booking accommodations which are cheaper. And unfortunately, accommodation prices are dynamic prices like an airline or a hotel. So the sooner they book, the better are the chances that they'll lock in a good price and get good accommodation options which are closer to the campus. The ones that are cheap and ones that are close to the campus go first.
Correct.
So again, one advice to the students is book as early as you can.
We spoke about being early when booking your accommodation. How early is too early or the right time? What is the trajectory there?
So I normally recommend to these students that they should book their accommodation at least 2 to 3 months before they fly to that particular country. Normally in India, the mindset is like, I'll book my accommodation after I get my visa. But with Amber, almost all the properties that we have has got no visa, no pay. So if you fail to get your visa, the booking deposit that you have paid is also 100% refundable. Second most important thing here to note is that if the student books an accommodation early, they will have more options to compare, and the prices will also not shoot up, because in the end the prices will also shoot up as the intake comes nearby. The prices will shoot up. So I normally recommend to these students that they should rather as soon as they get pay their tuition fee deposit to the university, they should start exploring the accommodation options as well.
Okay.
Just to add to his point, Apoorva, we advise the students to pay their tuition fees as soon as possible, because the sooner they pay the tuition fees, the sooner they can start planning other things, which includes accommodation. And the moment they finalize the university, they should be working on their accommodation as well. But we've also have students now who are, I would say, far more prepared, booking 2 to 3 accommodations as well. So today, if they're not sure about which university they want to go to, but they're clear that these are my top 2 choices, they'll book 2 accommodations as well, because all they have to do is pay a small deposit to block it, and they can let go of one. In the scheme of the cost of overall education, that deposit loss is nothing. So again, the advice would be I can't give it a timeline, but the moment you are clear on your top 2 or top 3 choices of universities, you should parallelly work on the accommodation as well.
Okay, and just to follow up a bit on that, Chetan, I would like to understand what are the options available to students when it comes to choosing their accommodation.
Okay, so there's primarily three choices of accommodations that students have. One is obviously independent accommodation or PG accommodation, what we call, where they can stay with a family there, or they can take an independent flat where 4 or 5 students can together get a flat. So that's one option. Not the most recommended because you can't pre-book that. Again, there is no guarantee, there are no safeties there. Today you could see something online, book it, and when you reach there, something else would be there. So that kind of accommodation a student should only take when they're doing it through a relative or a known person, where they have someone who can go see the place and make it clear, yes, the place is good and let's book it. The second and the most popular accommodation is obviously the one that the university provides on their website. So a lot of universities also have properties listed on their website which the students can apply for. One thing that people don't understand is that what's listed on the university website and what's listed with likes of Amber, there's no difference, right? So whether you book it through the university website or you book it through Amber, the student halls are pretty much common, and all the student halls there are managed privately. The university outsource it; they don't manage it themselves, right? They focus on the academic part. So today, if you book it through a company like Amber, the benefit is that you get better guidance. So, like he said, they have a property manager that's assigned to you who will give you more clarity on the queries you have about the room, the queries about the facility. Whereas if you do it through the university website, you don't have anybody answering your questions. So I would say booking it through aggregators or providers like Amber is a much safer choice for students.
And also, the peace of mind we spoke of, that is definitely there because you have a support system. You have somebody to fall back on, that this has not worked out, what do I do? Or how can you help me with certain facilities? So that's very important.
It's actually more of peace of mind for the parents as well.
Yeah.
So you'll find a lot of time the parents are the ones who are talking to their consultants rather than the students themselves, because the parents and especially the mothers, they want to ensure, like they'll ask questions like कि कपड़े सुखाने की जगह है क्या? That's how detailed they'll go.
I get calls from parents asking that whether what utensils we should carry or whether my kid will get a bed sheet or not. These are some small questions which these parents or the kids are actually they want to know.
They're worried about.
They are worried about because that's a new country for them. So that at this place, definitely Amber and its support system helps these students in the best way possible.
When students are going abroad to study, especially undergrad students moving to a new country for the first time, they're pretty much nervous. So, what is the one piece of advice you would like to give these students?
So being nervous is normal. Everyone feels that way, even if they don't admit it. So my piece of advice to these people is please connect with people. Please connect with the university online groups that they have. Please connect with your relatives or friends who are already studying there or living there. Understand from them about that particular city. So yeah, these I think these are the points that they should probably cover while planning to study abroad.
Definitely. Chetan, any advice you have?
No, I won't give advice, but I would give reassurance that it's okay to be nervous. But living in a student hall is socially a very rewarding experience, right? So today in a typical living hall, you would have 100 to 150 students living from different countries. There will be students from first year, second year, third year, master's students. So there's a huge support system that the students get. So they can speak to their seniors if they're struggling with their academics. And trust me, the kind of social interactions they can have, learn about different cultures. And there are some really good parties that happen on campus as well. So all these social experiences would be a big miss if they're staying in a private accommodation or if they've taken up a flat or PG accommodation. And like I said, studying abroad is not just about academics. It's a 360-degree kind of an experience. And staying in a student hall, I think, adds a lot of value to their overall experience.
This is very important, and I'm sure it has alleviated a little nervousness for students. Thank you, Prakar. Thank you for being on the Big Leap today.
Thank you, Chetan sir.
You're most welcome.
As a student, when you move abroad and begin your studies, one of the biggest challenges you face on ground is foreign exchange. And especially for Indians like us who are constantly converting everything from rupees to dollars and euros, Forex can become a big bit of an headache. With the Big Leap, we want to ensure that that doesn't happen for you and it becomes an effortless part of your student journey. So, we have a special guest who's an expert at Forex, Miss Sini Liju. You're from Thomas Cook, India, and she has over a decade of experience with Forex. So, we are very happy to have you today on the Big Leap.
Thank you so much for inviting me over this episode to share my expertise on foreign exchange.
Sure. Sini, with your experience in Forex, and students both, what is some of the most common mistakes students are making with regards to forex?
Purva, according to me, students do not give the due importance and time to think about foreign exchange, even though it comprises a major portion of their study expense abroad. I think they need to think well in advance and plan and prepare themselves for this particular expense of theirs.
Okay, Chetan, as somebody who's there with the students, what are your experiences?
Yeah, many a time students are not aware of forex, right? They're not aware that they can avail better rates when they go to companies like Thomas Cook, or sometimes even their bank can give them good rates. I've seen students use credit cards to make payments of their deposits and tuition fees and accommodation bookings. Credit cards are very expensive. The exchange rate that they offer is obnoxiously high, and many a times we tell the students that okay, use a forex, and they're like, no, we have a credit card, we'll just swipe a card, because they're so used to doing that. So that's an area where it's a common mistake that students make. They end up using their credit cards when they should not be doing that.
Many students assume that forex is a last minute task, but like you rightly pointed out, it needs planning. So how early should that planning begin?
Uh, for foreign exchange, I would segregate it into two segments. The remittance part needs to be done much earlier, but when the forex to be purchased for travel, its most suggested timeline would be 5 to 7 days prior to the date of departure. This gives enough time for the student to plan their expenses, how much they would like to carry, and then the forex card setup, because RBI has made certain channels to be deactivated, so they need to activate that, and last minute rush can be avoided, especially if the departure date comes on a holiday or a weekend. So that can be avoided. So ideally speaking, at least 5 to 7 days prior to their date of departure, if they're carrying foreign exchange. Otherwise, fee remittances, everything should be done at least 10 days prior to their due date. Ideally suggested.
Okay. Chetan, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like she correctly said that it's split into two parts. First is the most important is the remittance of the tuition fees or the accommodation advance payments that they need to make, and that's a bigger chunk as well. So you want to be aware of what are the rates out there, how much rate are you getting, maybe compare the rate with one or two providers, and then choose whichever provider, whether it's their bank, whether it's someone like Thomas Cook, who's giving them the best rate, because even a difference of 10 or 20 paisa in the scheme of things is going to make a huge difference.
Right.
So, checking the rates, again, planning advance will give them that flexibility that they can take a couple of days to choose the right provider for making the payment, and at least a week to 10 days before the due date of the payment, because at times we've seen the payments can get delayed for various reasons. There is a lot of back-end compliance that needs to be taken care of. So as simple as the PAN card, may one spelling mistake can delay the payment. So you never know. And today we've had students who have made the payment last minute and the payment has not reached the university and their admission has been cancelled. So they don't want to take that risk as well.
There's some terminology that students learn very new as they move into the study abroad journey, like, wire transfers, forex cards, or cash. So, what are the key differences between these, and what should students use and how?
Right. A very good question, because these are three products which will be used by students when they study abroad. Now, the basic cash, remittance, and card. Cash needs to be used minimal. Should be used for incidental expenses, and it can be used only once you reach your destination country. Remittance and card can be used for the major chunk of the payment. It could be used to pay your university fees. It could be used to pay your hostel fees, and it can be done sitting in India. You don't need to be at the destination country. So you can use Thomas Cook Study Buddy card to make payments on the university portal. You can use it to make your hostel fees payment well in advance. And while traveling, cash and card both needs to be taken, but would always recommend to carry more on card, because cash is not a secure way of carrying foreign exchange abroad, and card is a very secured way. It's insured, and you get a lot of add-on facilities which really helps students, giving them a lot of discounts for their stay abroad. And remittances is university fee payment, but remittances also depends upon bank holidays, weekends and everything. Whereas forex loading is real time. It is not dependent on any holidays or anything. You come to Thomas Cook today, within 2 or 3 hours, we can load your foreign exchange card, Forex card, and you can immediately make the payment. So these are basically the differences. But as per the requirement by the university, by the hostel accommodation provider, the students can select between remittance or card.
So remittance would be the same as wire transfer?
Yes, remittance is same. It's just another word for wire transfer. Remittance is basically from one account to another account.
Okay.
And it's a virtual money transferred from India abroad.
Okay, understood. Chetan, I feel like we are doing a lot of financial literacy also for our students. So, what would you like to add here?
I think financial literacy is very important for students because the kind of money that they're spending is huge, right? Cash is an absolute no-no in my books. They should always carry a travel card and load whatever amount they need on the travel card with maybe 5% of that in cash in case, some exigencies are there. Travel card is extremely convenient more than anything else. Like I personally use a travel card every time I travel abroad, and it's so easy and convenient to load it up also and use it as well. And like she said, there are a lot of add-ons that come on, like as simple as a lounge access coming free, right? So there are many facilities that the students can avail if they take a travel card, and convenient and safe also. And believe me when I say this, we have seen a lot of incidences of robbery in some of these countries where the students are carrying cash and they've lost their cash, right? So a travel card is extremely safe. In case you lose the card also, you have an app with which you can deactivate it immediately and ensuring that there's no loss to you.
Okay. As we're talking about this, I would like to ask you if there are any expert tips that you'd like to share with students for Forex.
The expert tips, what I would like to share is like how rightly Sir said, carry a Forex card with you, because Forex card, basically even the loading of the Forex card comes at a favorable rate than buying currency. And plus the add-on benefits, like when a student travels, they get a free SIM, they get lounge access, they get complimentary meet and greet. Then we come up every year, we come up with different vouchers which the student can avail, which will help in their expenses when they're studying abroad or when they're traveling abroad. And Thomas Cook Study Buddy card, Thomas Cook has come up with something called as TCH points, wherein you load the card, you get the points, and using those points you can book international hotels and you can book international flight tickets also, and you get discounts on that. So that is another advantage of using the Thomas Cook Study Buddy card. And card is the smartest way of carrying foreign exchange abroad, secured, safe and reliable. No issues, no hassles.
Absolutely. Chetan, what are some tips you'd like to share with students for Forex?
I think there's not much left for me to say because it will sound repetitive. Yeah, safety is very, very important. A lot of these kids are traveling abroad for the first time. So they're a little clueless about how to manage money, right? So with a card, it becomes a lot easier. At times, they end up overpaying because they're doing that conversion in the mind. The maths is not fitting. They don't get the right change. They've not realized they've not got the right change. So a lot of small things can go wrong when you're using cash. So Forex cards are the safest options. So yeah, I would say stick to that.
Okay. Sini, thank you so much for being on the Big Leap today. I think whatever you said, that's definitely a value addition to the students here. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure.
Chetan, we are here after, having spoken to our guests, having heard them on finance, accommodation and Forex. What is the single biggest takeaway for students from this episode?
I think firstly, it was very refreshing to have some new faces on this podcast. I think people must be very bored at looking at both of us. So I think that was a good welcome change. But the important aspect was to get in experts who can talk about their domain expertise to the students. And I think the takeaway for them is that today they know and understand the importance of these aspects, right? So I think before this episode, for students who have not seen this, they would have thought that university admission is the most important aspect. But after this episode, I think we've established the clarity for them that logistics are equally important.
Right.
So I think that for me is the biggest takeaway, and I hope the students can take the advice that's been given by the expert and start planning early, whether it's their education loan, whether it's the accommodation, or whether it's Forex, because if they plan early, they will get the best for themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you once again for being on the Big Leap with us. And for our viewers, I'd like to ask you to like, share and subscribe. We are giving such amazing, valuable content that I'm sure is helping in your journey as students. So please Give a big thumbs up to this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Leave some new questions that you may have in the comments below, and we'll take them up in the upcoming episodes. Thank you for watching The Big Leap.